Hello, everybody. Welcome. Come on in and join us. We are so thankful that you are here with us today because you could be anywhere, and we are honored that you are here celebrating with us another episode of the show today. I'd love to invite you to take a minute, click the love button, click the share button so that more people can join us on the show today. My name is Jessica Dugas. I'm an intuitive mentor and energy healer. And as I'm sure you've noticed, my partner in crime, Donna Brown, is not here with us today. She is under the weather. So everybody, please just take a moment and send some positive vibes, some healing vibes to Donna today as she's watching from home. Donna, we hope you feel better really soon and are back your normal, fun, spunky self next week. So how many of you have ever struggled to find your way home to your authentic self? Whether that was you in the past or it's you right now, something you're still trying to achieve today, you don't want to miss this show. Today we have my friend and fellow author of Inspired Living Publishing's latest anthology, Shine, as I'm sure you can see from my photo right here. My friend Crystal Cockerham is here today. Crystal is an energy alchemist and transformational mentor who will be sharing her breakthrough moment when she came home to herself. But first, we have to get to our hot topic today, which means it's time to bring on our panelists for the show. So first up today, we have our declutter coach and consultant helping us to keep organized and decluttered during our breakthrough moments. Everybody, please welcome my friend Heather Clark to the show today. And also joining us is the lovely and talented relationship specialist helping us to bring more passion and love into our relationships during our breakthrough moments. Everyone, please welcome Lori Ann Davis to the show today. Yay. So glad to have you ladies on today. I definitely wouldn't want to be on the show alone and talking to myself. So I'm really glad that you're here.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Yes, I'm glad I'm here too. It's been weird because I haven't been on the last two shows and I'm like, okay, it's coming.
It's that wiredness you get from sitting in the green room drinking so much coffee, Heather.
It really is.
Yeah. Eating too many cookies, Heather.
Yeah, but you know what? They're just so good. They're just so darn good. I can't help it.
Well, I'm excited about our hot topic today. So our hot topic for today's show is, how do you treat yourself? We would love if you are joining us to chime in on this hot topic because I feel like this is going to go a really interesting direction. So we saw this quote, Donna and I, that said, the way you treat others is a reflection of how you treat yourself. And so I wanted to come on to Hot Topics today and say, how do you treat yourself? And does that quote hold true for you? What do you think, Heather? Bring us in on this one.
Well, it was funny because we were talking about this earlier, before anyone came on, kind of deal of just the fact of, I find that I treat others better than I treat myself, like 100%. Like whether it's the way that I'd give more to them than I'd give to myself, or the time that I would tell them, oh, take the time out to break, don't worry about it. It's just, why aren't you that nice to yourself? And that's what I feel like. I'm like, okay, why am I not giving myself the same breaks? So I'm kind of opposite of that quote, where I feel that I treat others better than I treat myself, which I'm going to try and just make it so that it's even and make the quote just as well.
Right. How about you, Lori? What do you think about that?
I agree with Heather that one of the things I've been doing lately is having to try harder to put myself first, because, if I'm dying for a hot bath, but the kids want something, or I'll think of something nice I could do for them and I'll do that instead. This week I've been making time to exercise because that always seems to fall down. And so, yeah, I think I treat others much better and much more. I'm harder on myself than I am on others. So I don't know.
And Jess, what about you? Because I know this is something that we've talked about too. Yes.
Maybe we're an anomaly sitting here.
No, I mean, listen, I felt that when I saw the quote, that was the initial reaction that I had, was that it has taken me a long time to get to this point of where I am putting myself first, and I'm starting to implement that self-care and treat myself in a way that I know that I treat other people. What's interesting though, and kind of I'll play devil's advocate for a minute here, and I was talking to Heather about this before the show, and that's that, that whole idea that we can't properly serve other people unless we're filling our own cup. So if we're not treating ourselves kindly, if we're not treating ourselves the same way that we're treating other people, are we really treating other people nicely? Are we really? If we're not taking care of ourselves, if we're not treating ourselves the way we treat other people, are we really treating them in a nice way? So that's my question to you guys today.
Yeah, like, because that's one of the things is, okay, so you're always told, okay, treat yourself the way that you want to treat others, or the way that you'd want them to treat you. But yet, are we actually doing that? Like, is that how we treat other people? And when do we treat it? Like, okay, so I know for me personally, it's when I'm feeling hungry. It's when I feel like my mood goes down and all that stuff. So am I treating people around those same times the same way I would treat myself? And it's like, oh crap, am I? Do I treat people less at those moments than I could have if I was, up in spirits, or if I was treating myself better by feeding myself? Could I have given them better energy for me, like of my own energy kind of deal? So yeah, so that's totally one of my things that I'm like, oh, that makes a lot of sense too. Yeah.
Well, I thought about that as well. And I thought that probably on a day-to-day basis, in a general basis, I would treat people better sometimes, or put their needs before mine. And some of that comes from being a mom and having kids.
Yeah.
And that when they're young, you have to put their needs before yours, because their needs really are essential now. They have to eat, they have to be taken care of, but then I think we can get stuck in that, and we can continue to do that. And what will happen, like Heather said, is eventually we get depleted, we get run down, and then no, we're not treating them as well as we should be, right? Because we snap, or we're cranky, or we
what? I'm never cranky.
I am. You can be perfect. I'm not. And so you're right. Thinking about if we were taking that time for ourselves more often, might we avoid some of that? And my guess, well, I don't have to guess. It's definitely, we know that it would be better. And so reminding ourselves of that ultimately, by taking care of ourselves, we're going to be treating them better and us better.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that perspective, because that's not one that you wouldn't normally go there with that, I don't think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, that like I said, my gut, my initial reaction when I first saw that quote was, oh, I always treat other people better. And then when I sat and thought about it a while, I said, what if I chose to treat myself better, or at least on that even keel than I treat others? Then wouldn't I then be treating other people even better, because I'm taking care of myself, because I'm putting myself first, It's definitely an interesting perspective. And I think that I would love to hear, I know that Gwen is joining us today. Donna's watching from home. We love you, Donna.
Yes, feel better, take care of yourself.
Exactly.
I know. It's crazy. Like, I've started to see some, it's changing seasons now, and some folks aren't feeling very, very well already with the change of season. So take care of yourself, everybody, because then you can treat other people better too, the better you feel.
Yeah, I've got one in bed sick. Last week it was one child. This week it's the other child.
Well, see, I'm not sick, but I did manage to fall the other day when I was with my kids. You should see. So it's actually a lot better, but like totally, like I tripped over my shadow or something, and I ended up just going head first, hand, knee, the whole hip, my whole left side. But the funny thing was, like, I only felt it in my hand at the beginning. And so last night, and then this morning, I slept in. I was like, forget it. Your body needs to rest. It needs to like get over whatever pain. Like my shoulder was sore because obviously I took the brunt of it. So I was like, you know what? I am going to treat myself better than I would, the same way I would with somebody else saying, no, rest. You need to rest the shoulder. You need to ice it and stuff. So that's what I did last night and this morning. So yeah, so that was I actually did something better for myself.
I slept in this morning. I didn't set an alarm. I was like yesterday, this week's been long and I worked a really long day, like 13 hours yesterday. So this morning, yeah, same thing. I was like, you know what? I wake up when I wake up because still won't be that late.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like,
Yeah, and then I sat around in the gloomy rain with my one daughter and drank my coffee and chatted and was like, you know what? I'm just going to get off to a slow start.
Yep.
So, and it felt good. And now I feel
great.
Yeah, I know.
It's a good point, though. I mean, to be included in this conversation, because like Lori talked about, we get in that habit as moms that, putting the needs of our children first. But you can look at an example like this, Heather, where, I can think of plenty of times where the kids have fallen and I'm like checking them over and getting the ice and, making sure they're okay and really nurturing them. But when I fall down, it's like, okay, Jessica, get up. You got stuff to do.
And that was my original reaction on the Wednesday. I was like, no, guys, I'm good. Let's go. We got to drive, go home, whatever. But then that Wednesday night and then like yesterday, that's when I was like, your body needs to heal.
Yeah. Or, when if our kids aren't feeling good, we'll tuck them in bed and we'll tell them to rest, but we don't do that. We don't do that for ourselves usually.
We have that go mentality, and I think that's the hustle.
We can't because we have more responsibility than they do.
Yeah.
And that's just part of life. But I really do think of that. And even with partners, so I'm going to bring this up, right? I got to bring up the relationship aspect.
Of course.
But if we're not putting ourselves first sometimes and making sure that we're filled, are you crankier with a partner?
Yes.
I am, and something that he would do that he normally would do anyway might upset me when if everything else is going right, it doesn't upset me. And so I have to say that one I have a much better handle on 99% of the time. So if I'll start to feel like I'm really aware that this is my stuff and I need to go get my needs met, I need to do something. Every now and then it'll slip through, but I see that in couples a lot of times is that they don't take care of themselves. And then everything that their partner, that they don't like about them or all the little things start to add up and become big things. And then you get this big cavern between you and your partner that you can't cross. And relationships start to erode that way. So I have to take a moment to throw that in. I do.
But of course.
Well, I mean, let's talk about Heather's profession for a minute there too, because I know for me, and one of the lessons that I'm learning in the decluttering process and the organizing process is that I would do the same thing. Like I would take care of areas of the house that other people would see or that belong to other people before my own, and then wonder why I'm so miserable in my space.
Because yes, that's exactly what it is. It's the energy of the space that you have around you, whether it's cluttered, whether it's not in the, energy like the feng shui or anything like that. If you, practice that, it's that energy. So when you clear the stuff out that's not supposed to be around you on a daily basis, that it doesn't serve you, then yes, it is the same thing. Then you're going to start treating yourself better. You're going to start treating everyone else around you better. And yeah, so it definitely, absolutely. And that's self-care with you, Jessica, with the making sure that that's number one. That's why this is such a good topic for all of us.
It is. See, I'm the opposite when it comes to that. Like I'll keep my space and the space that I have to be in. And then I have learned to just close the door in the other rooms. And like, you know what? That's
what I do with my kids.
Yeah, it's like it's not my responsibility, and I don't want to be yelling at you all the time. And if that really, if it bothers you, you'll fix it. I mean, I still say something on a daily basis, but I've learned to not get too hyper about that part. Yeah. Pick my battles. As long as my space, that I have to function in on a daily basis is as neat as I can possibly get it, because I'd like it to be like pristine, and that with 4 or 5 people in the house isn't going to happen.
Yeah, you're like pristine with some, reality to it.
I saw a meme on Facebook yesterday that said something like, please excuse the mess. My expectations have lowered with each child. I mean, bless it. I have 6 children. Don't come to my door.
I only have 3, but with each one, it has definitely lowered.
Yep. For sure.
It has to, or you're miserable and you can't enjoy your life and your children.
See, with each child of mine, less stuff came. Like I I had less stuff. And now as the years go by, we keep having less stuff because I'm like, no, because the more stuff we have, the more crap is going to be everywhere in everyone's rooms and stuff like that. I'm like, so why don't we just clear out the stuff? Like, we're doing a thing this weekend, by the way. My children don't know yet. Not that they watch the show or anything, but yeah, like my son is going to a friend's house for sleepover. But before he does that, guess what we're doing tonight? We're cleaning the space, because right now, like, I just feel like bogged down, and I guess the switching of, you know, the colder weather, and we're going to be inside more often, so it's going to be like, okay, we're going to be here for a lot longer, let's just clear up the stuff that we don't want in here anymore. So
Just be like, hey kids, spoiler alert, watch the breakthrough.
exactly.
So if you could come do that with, I have one child that we just did some of that. Easy to do that with. The other one, if you could come to my house and do that, I would love you forever.
Perfect. There we go. See, it's taken many years for my children to just know the look, and then they're like, oh, this is happening, isn't it? Whether they like it or not. And for me, it's usually, here's the deal. Either you do it now, or when you go to dad's, guess who's going to do it?
Do you have a teenager yet?
Not yet. Not yet.
Oh, okay.
It's coming.
So let's talk
But it's
when
coming,
you do, and let's talk when you do, because that worked before they hit teenage. Yeah. So let's talk then.
Yeah, we all talk about it for sure.
Well, it's definitely been a good topic today. I think you can really apply, this idea of how do you treat yourself? Think about the different areas we've talked about today, whether it's just with other people in general, in your relationships, with your home, with your space. How do you treat yourself? And is the way you treat others a reflection of how you treat yourself? We would love for you to continue to chime in below as the show goes on, whether you're live or on the replay, so that we can interact with you as well. But without further ado, I want to welcome our guest today. As I mentioned earlier in the show, she's an energy alchemist and transformational mentor, and she's one of my co-authors of the book Shine. Everybody, please welcome my friend Crystal Cockerham to the show today. Welcome, Crystal.
Hello, thank you for having me.
We're so excited that you're here, and I would love for you to chime in on today's topic. How do you treat yourself, Crystal?
Well, that has been a learning dance, and I will say that I still don't have it right, but it's working.
What is right anyway?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Right, like it's a process. So
It is.
yeah, I mean, I agree with everything that you ladies mentioned about taking care of yourself. You will take care of others better. And when you take care of others the same way that you take care of yourself, with the love and the care that you want to be taken care of with, then you know that you've hit the right balance and you're in that moment, right? So yeah, I mean, every once in a while I'll stumble and I'll start getting frustrated. I'm like, what the heck is going on? I'm like, oh, pattern. So I've noticed it as each one of my kids has moved back home. Last spring, my son moved home, and yeah, that came with a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then a month later, my daughter moved back home from school. And that came with some stuff and more rearranging and them learning how to, interact with each other again, and all of us. And now my Then right before the college season started, my niece moved in, because I'm the closest to her school. So then you have a new dynamic she stayed with us a couple of times, but now she's living with us, right? That's different. And then my youngest daughter moved back home from Colorado. So it's been a lot of retraining and restructuring. Yes, you are my kids. You're always my babies, but you're all adults now. So it's not all up to mom. And this doesn't work for me. So what are you going to do about it to, make it work for all of us? And so right now there's a lot of that, like, reacclimation and that training going on. So
What a beautiful opportunity we have, though, I think a lot of us learned to have that mentality of treating others better than what we treat ourselves, even if it was just subconsciously, even if someone didn't come out and say, treat others better than you treat yourself. I think we still believe that subconsciously. So we have such a beautiful opportunity with all of our children to say, hey, treat yourself well. And then in turn, you can treat others well too. I think it's a cool opportunity we have as moms right now to do that. Crystal, I would love for you, because I think your topic is going to be really timely for a lot of people today, really about coming home to yourself and finding your authentic self and things like that. Because I know I'm definitely I'm so much farther along that journey than I used to be, but I feel like I have a ways to go with that too. So I would love for you to start off today's show and take us back to what things were like for you before you had your breakthrough moment. What was Crystal like back then?
Well, I thought I had to be freaking Wonder Woman and perfect at everything. I went through college and my youngest was 2. Mm-hmm. So for me, it was always trying to live up to what I thought the opposite of what everybody expected, because, I'm a natural blonde, and I always had to fight against that stigma my whole entire life of, oh, well, you don't know what you're talking about, or, oh, you're a dizzy blonde, or, whatever. And my younger sister always, reading and academics came so freaking easy for her, like straight A's with little to no effort at all. And for me, I had to work hard for my A's and B's. I really had to work hard for it. So when I went back to college, there was a period of 8 years or so in between. And that was a wake-up call for me. And I always felt like this competition, because my sister had gone off to school and everything, and she graduated when my youngest was born, and she always made it look so easy. And so what I never realized or took into account was, I'm running a household, I'm raising 3 kids and their activities. And guess what? I wasn't living on campus. I was living at home and managing all of that. But I still always, I always use that as no, I got to work harder. I can do this. I can make it look perfect. I can make it look easy. And, all I did was set myself up for a lot of disappointment, because while I absolutely loved my school experience, and if I were to win the lottery, I probably would be doing what I'm doing now, but still learning and traveling. I don't think I could do anything else, because I just loved it so much. So I set myself up for a lot of disappointment and not ever speaking my needs or taking care of me, and always taking care of other people. So fast forward a little bit, and the setting of my story in Shine is after school, already graduated, already did my tours of substitute teaching, already had my own classroom and been laid off, because of course, after 9/11, you had that post crash after a few years, and all the school districts had to pare back. And so then I was back to substitute teaching, but really what I was doing was running the 11th grade curriculum for an inner city school district and getting paid substitute pay, but it was okay because I was proving myself, the pattern. And my daughter got sick, and that changed everything.
So what happened then as when your daughter got sick that made you realize that how old Crystal wasn't gonna happen anymore?
Everything stopped. For me, I was in such a state of fear. It slammed me into such a state of fear. And and the helplessness that you feel when your child is in a dangerous situation like that. And was insane. And I mean, my sheer will and determination literally took over. And I think it just, that's what got me through that. Like, I was so focused on, oh, hell no, you are not going to lose hope. You're not going to do this. Like, this is it. Like, constantly reminding, like, this is going to be okay. Look, you only puked 25 times today, and yesterday was 34. Because, yeah, guess what? I had to count that stuff. You know, like ounces in, ounces out, you know, all of that kind of thing. And, you know, and showing her growth and how much she was getting better. And so, you know, she had a few setbacks along the way. So this wasn't just a short period of time, it was a longer period of time. And during that time, you know, I did some part-time work when I felt like safe enough to like leave the house and everything. And that's how I came across coaching. Because, you know, I was offered to join this wisdom group, and one night this woman, she's just said, and I just want to be nice like Crystal and da da da. And boy, that just set me off. It pissed me off so bad. Like, I am so much more like, damn. Oh, I'm sorry, I swore, didn't I?
That's you're good.
Sorry. Oh, it did. It got me, but I couldn't tell you what it was that I wanted to hear her say when she described me. And so, you know, that really is the basis of my story. And so that night, it was literally an awakening for me. And it led me to go through, you know, becoming a coach. And then I was introduced to, and it really started me like facing my fears and reconnecting with myself. But what really forced me to go deeper, and where I couldn't ignore or be distracted by the mommy thing and being perfect and getting caught up in my doingness and everything, was the divine feminine teaching that I went through for myself. And it was one of those, like, a friend of mine mentioned it, and it literally, I think I had physical whiplash afterwards, because all she said was, I know this woman who will come and set a circle for us in the space for this weekend. And literally my head like flipped around. I went, I want to know about that before I even knew what was coming out of my mouth. And so I did it. You know, I went through the motions of going through the introductory meeting and everything, but I just knew I was doing it. I knew I wanted it. I had to go to the meeting, so I'd get the application. I did it. And about the third meeting in, I was like, what did I get myself into? Like, I don't want to do this anymore. And, but then I knew I had to, because I was loving, you know, being part of this, the circle and like the ceremony of it. It was like this sacredness and this calling that I didn't know I had been seeking and yearning for. And it was my answer. It was feeding me. And that feeding really encouraged me to even go deeper into my own work. And not to give away the secrets or anything, but there was one point in one of the retreat weekends that went with that teaching where it was all of a sudden, I just heard it. It was like, this is my Avalon, I'm home. And I kept that so close. It was probably a couple of years before I ever shared that with anybody, because it was like, oh my God, I found it. I found my Avalon. I am home. Like, this is me. I found me. And it was just, it might even like make me tear up right now a little bit, but it's a really big deal when you hear that voice so crisp and so clear, and you have this feeling and you feel everything. I mean, everything around you, everything in you. And it's not heavy. It's light. It's really light. And you can't deny what you hear in your mind, you know, that inner voice. It's incredible. And one of the most profound things I have ever done for myself in my life.
I
And
love that you're emotional about it though, Crystal, because I get very putting it nicely fired up when I see other people discount these awakening experiences that we have, these moments of realization, or discount them, or say that couldn't have been that way, or that's not real, or whatever it is that people. I'm not a fan of that chatter, because it can be that powerful, and it brings you to tears, and it's emotional, and so I love that you're getting emotional, besides the fact that someone on this show has to cry other than Donna. We love you, Donna. But I love that it makes you emotional, because that's how experiences, I think, can be that powerful to move us that much. And you're getting your point across, because I think it's important for people to realize just how powerful those moments can be.
the closest thing I have to compare it to is when you give birth to your first child, however that looks for you, however that is. There's no wrong way to do it, whether it's a C-section or what have you. When you meet your child for the first time, and that washing over of that love that's like 10,000 times bigger than you ever could have imagined. And believe me, you thought, oh yeah, I'm so excited. And it's just that much more powerful in the moment. It's almost like you expect it, but you don't, and you're taken off. And waking up, so the difference of waking up and coming home to yourself is like, when you wake up, it's like this big aha moment, like, holy crap, I can see now, I can feel now, I can, oh my gosh, that's, it's like this cloud is lifted. But the difference for me in coming home to myself, it was similar, but not the same, because all of, when you meet your child for the first time, even if it's your third one, your fifth one, your 10th one, I mean, that feeling never changed. But the first time, you're shocked by how much greater it is, So if you were to take and instead of that connection with this outside human who incubated, percolated, and literally was created and birthed through you and your physical sacred container, and you're taking it, it's all bubbling up in you for you. Like, it's not going anywhere. It's you. It's your love of yourself. There are no words.
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
What was the biggest fear that you think that you felt that you had to let go in order to get to this spot right here?
Home?
Yeah. Like, what was the biggest fear that you had beforehand that you just are like, okay, that's it, I'm done. Like, I've got to give this up in order to move on?
It wasn't a fear.
What was it?
For me, like, once I woke up and I was like going through the coaching, my thing was, I cannot wait to meet me.
Gotcha.
And so it was a peeling away of the layers, and there were layers of fear to get to me.
That's right? What I mean. Like, what kind of layers were you noticing and that you had to give up?
Fears, beliefs, woundings of not being good, not being good enough, not being enough.
And I ask because there might be somebody watching this show that is still in that beforehand. Well,
so I'm not trying to be secretive. I'm just trying not to give away the teachings.
The teachings, so
I just want my experience of what that was for me. And so, and knowing what I want instead of being okay with what other people wanted for me. and going with it without speaking up. So a big part of that too, which thank you for making me go there. Thank you for making me go there, Heather, because a big part of it too is finding your voice.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think that's what a lot of people are like I've been hearing a lot of the talk of, what do I really want? Like, what is it that I want? And then so many people might figure that out, but are afraid to go there, like you said.
Yeah.
But
well, because you don't know, and
Yeah.
you've never known, or it was always this big pie in the sky, and there's 50 million good reasons that it just didn't or couldn't happen.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So then once you were at that place, let's take it forward just a little and let people know what were some of the first steps that you took, and how did your life start to look different, so that I think maybe if people are in that space where they're wondering, it might kind of give them a little bit of a view, or if they're going through it, you know, they might kind of see what are some of those next steps.
Taking care of yourself and being accountable for what you've claimed for yourself, because you can't, once you find it, you can go back, but the universe is just going to make it so much more painful for you. It's going to be so much more difficult. And, you know, I thank my lucky stars each and every day for the community that held me, and not only the teacher and the woman who held that space in that container, but also my mentor, because, oh my gosh, I mean, since then, her and I have collectively gone through other pieces of work together, and we've like co-assisted and facilitated other works together. And I laugh, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to name her. I'm just like, Carolyn, I gave you such a run for your money. Like, did you ever have anybody else who was so difficult than me? And you know, but yeah, so I look back and I can laugh at it now, but at the time it was like, oh my gosh, like I have to do this. And then it was like, once you realize it, you know, like you can go back, but you really don't want to. You know, if you fall in a pile of crap on the street and you finally get out of it and get it off your shoes, do you really want to step back into it on purpose?
It's like the best like visual ever.
Yeah, no, thank you. Leave it. Take it away. I'm done with it.
That's all I'm going to have as a visual from now on today.
Yeah. So finding a mentor, it sounds like having a mentor is an important step
It absolutely is.
Well, helping you to move forward and supporting you while you start on taking those wobbly baby steps that are new to you.
Yeah. It really is key, and to know, and I think even larger than that is to know that whatever it is that you're going through and you're trying to overcome is as isolated as you may feel in it. You're not alone. You're not the only one.
I think that's key for a lot of people especially coming into the online space. Like everyone feels that isolation, they feel that whatever, and knowing that no matter what, that nobody is alone. Even when you feel alone,
Right.
You're actually divinely not alone, and taking that and understanding that. And I love the fact that you said that, is you're never alone.
Yeah. I mean, so many times, and oftentimes, you know, you've been conditioned when you have spoken up by being shot right down by saying that you're wrong and not validated, that you feel alone, you feel crazy, you feel wrong, you feel what's wrong with me kind of thing. And it's not true. And it's a very painful and suffocating place to be in. And that's not why we are here in these earthly bodies having this experience. That's not why we're here. We're not supposed to suffer like that.
Crystal, what inspires you to keep moving forward and stay home? Stay home with your who you are and who you're supposed to be, because I think situations and people and things can come up in our lives where I think it's for lack of a better word, almost natural for us to step backwards or to retreat back. What do you think are things that inspire you to stay in that space, to continue to honor yourself and who you are?
Because I know what it took for me to get where I'm at today.
Mm.
And to go back is not an option. So, I mean, the poop thing was funny, but that's real. I mean, think about it. It's stinky and it's really gross, and it just makes me want to like totally gag to think about it. But if you think of that visceral feeling throughout your body and just feeling like an anvil is being pressured down on your head, that's what I would imagine it would be to not stay at home in myself and to continue to be aligned in my truth and to live from my sovereignty.
So I have a question. How do you teach your children this?
Well,
For those of us who have children that are watching and stuff like that, and all of us that have children here, how do you teach the little ones when they don't even know what their their alignment is, but how do you know as the mom or as the parents,
so when I went through my journey in Changing Woman, the Divine Feminine Journey, the year after, there was a maidens program and a maiden initiation. And I took both of my daughters to that introductory circle. And one of them claimed it and went through it herself. And one of them, just because of where she was, and just wait, Lori, wait, Heather, till they're teenagers, just out of spite, because every other mom and every other person there, they're like, but she was listening so intent, like, did it? I'm like, well, yeah, but mom brought her and mom would really like it for her. Just so on that sheer aspect, she isn't going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
She went, and that the community is always open to her. Like, she can still, like, even now that she's not a maiden, if she chooses it, she can still go through, the Changing Woman, as a woman instead of a maiden.
So how do you go about like looking for these kind of like circles or these kind of communities in your area? Like, obviously we're all from different areas and stuff like that. Like, how would you go about looking for it for yourselves and your children?
That's a really good question. For kids, like I said, in my community, I know there's a young maidens, like a rites of passage. There's maidens, there's Changing Woman. We have a matriarch initiation, a grandmother initiation,
Oh, wow.
all of that. And so, the leaders in my community, I mean, we actually have women all over the country.
Mm-hmm.
So are they actively teaching? I'm not sure, but that's a really great question. And also, so I think it's word of mouth and reaching out to someone and just getting through the network, because unfortunately it's just not out there.
Gotcha. Okay.
And even less out there, I think, in some parts of the country than others.
Yeah. And so there is a book, Heather, that I read with my nephew this past summer when he was here, and he's 10. Oops. And so we have lots of conversations. It's kind of like when a kid asks you how babies are born and you give them, just enough until it's not enough and they ask another question.
Yep.
Appropriate. So, I mean, that's how I approach things with him. Like, I might not say, oh, well, that's a formalized belief, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, I really hold the space. And like, we had an awesome talk about, he had to go to school because he's been really struggling in school lately. And I had no idea this was going to happen. It was just in the moment. I'm just like, so Aiden, I want to talk to you. And he's like, yes, Crystal. Like, because I've never like said that to him. And I'm like, how did you like summer school? And I just kind of approached it. I'm like, well, what needs to change this year so that you don't have the struggles and the problems and whatever. And what he did was he answered back with all the adult answers for him
Wow.
because he didn't know. And I said, okay, I just heard you say like what your teacher would tell you you needed.
Yeah.
But what do you need? What is it like for you? And I went there with him, you know, that's how I navigated that. And we had a really good conversation. Like,
That's
I mean,
awesome.
we probably talked for like an hour. And, you know, I shared with him how, you know, I have 3 kids and they're 25, 22, and 20. And every single one of them learned different. Every single one of them had their own challenges in school. And they're not the only 3 different kinds of learners and challenges out there. So we had this really great discussion and came up with this whole plan about, and that really empowered him and gave him a feeling of like, oh, I can totally handle this. I can totally do this. And so when my sister came to pick him up, I'm like, I just want you to know, we had like a really good conversation. And so, but then I turned it over to him. I'm like, Aiden, share with your mom, like your plan and everything of how you want to approach the school year. And he did. And my sister's just like, I'm like, well, you're the one who moved an hour away. I can't help you any more than that.
That's so awesome.
But we read this book and it's called, it's something about the it's downstairs. And I can always add it into the chat afterwards. It's like
Perfect.
the acorn people, or when the last acorn is found or something. And it was actually a book when we went through the coaching that at the end of the program that the teacher gifted all of us. It was really, I mean, really good, really good. And so we read it together. And so I went to school for teaching. So we stopped and we talked about the book along the way, you know, all of this kind of stuff. And he goes, Aunt Crystal, I really like this book. And I said, well, I'm glad, you know, why do you like this book? And it was everything that wasn't the words on the paper and what we've been talking about this whole time.
Mm.
Awesome.
And so there are other books in this series. So I kind of want to get the other books so I can read them with them too. And so my niece, who is now almost 11 months old. Oh, trust me, all the Wayne Dyer children's books out there. Oh, yeah, they're getting them.
That's awesome. That is fantastic.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, like you've changed that generation just by that conversation, just by making him feel empowered of that. That's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
It's so good. I think it ties right into what we were talking about at the beginning too, about the opportunity we have to pass that down, you know, pass these new thoughts down to our children that maybe we didn't have when we were younger. It's a beautiful opportunity we have, but unfortunately we are coming close to the end of our time together, Crystal. But I would love for you to finish us off by sharing, if anybody's out there right now who just feels that disconnect with themselves right in this moment and says, I don't know who the heck I am. Like you're talking about coming home. I don't even know what planet I live on. Like they just don't know themselves. What's something that you can say to them today to leave them with a little golden nugget, if you will?
I would say that it's definitely time to give themselves a break and retreat somewhere where they are not distracted or disturbed, probably for a half a day at least, but maybe even longer. And somehow in that time, like there needs to be some walking, probably a soaking in a tub, and it's just quiet. There's no television, there's no social media, there's no nobody calling or texting them, and they're just shedding all of the outside stuff so that they can enter into a space where they can close their eyes and really breathe into their body. Like imagine, so this is energy, but we're going to use metaphors that everybody can comprehend with, okay? So in through your nose and out through your mouth, because that helps and allows for your brain to make brand new connections. So if you can imagine like the sun shining on your head, like that warmth, and just keep, every time you inhale, you bring it down and you're feeling it. And you breathe it down and you're feeling it. And as you're breathing into your tummy and you're not breathing here. And just letting yourself feel it. And when you get to your heart, pause and let it come out through both of your arms like a T. And imagine, okay, now you've got sunbeams coming out of your hands. Okay. And then you just continue breathing and keep pulling the energy down. And when you get to your root chakra, which is like your sits bones, right? Imagine, okay, you've got light, right? Anywhere the light can come out, the light is coming out. And you're rooting, kind of like imagining like a tree rooting. And then just continue breathing it down, both of your legs, right? All the way through your feet, and let the energy move through your feet and keep rooting. And just stay in that space and let it build up. And the whole time that you're doing this exercise, ask yourself, what do I want? Mm-hmm. How do I want to be? Who do I want to be?
I love that.
Listen and feel what comes through for that, and allow yourself to journal or sketch or make lists or whatever that is for you while afterwards. And then every day just revisit that and let it build and keep speaking to you.
Mm. I love it. It's so beautiful. I think that's a great exercise for anybody to do, no matter where you're at. And like I said, especially for those of you who are feeling that sense of feeling lost right now, about who you are and trying to find yourself. Crystal, you've given such amazing information today and such bravery in sharing your vulnerability with us about finding yourself. And I think it's so timely, like I said, for everybody that's watching. So we thank you so much for being here today and appreciate your candid story sharing with us as well. So thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you for having me. And I'm sorry I missed meeting you, Donna. Energetically, hi.
All right, Crystal, we will see you next time. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you. Bye, Heather. Bye, Lori. Bye, Jess.
Hi. All right, ladies. So it's really interesting because I think that this process of discovering who you are and finding yourself, I'm glad that in telling her story that she shared, that it was really a period of time and things that she dealt with and things that she went through, because I know that for me, I certainly didn't wake up one day and said, oh, here I am. Like that's not how it worked. In fact, I'm still trying to, I feel like every day I tap in a little more to that person that I was supposed to be and the person that I was born to be. How do you feel about that, Heather?
Well, that's why I was asking, because like about the whole, what did she have to let go of in order to be that person? Because I know it's always, whether we have to let go of an old story we have, whether it's, what we think of ourselves, whether it's things, physical things, but it's all tied into, again, maybe that's why I like decluttering, because I enjoy when people get to that point, because that's transformation of when you finally let go of that, what actually comes out of it, like what actually comes through, whether it's you, your family, you're like the kids, the partnerships, whatever it is, it's that afterwards when you do let go of those things. And that's why I was like, what did you have to let go of? Like, what were some of those things that, it just intrigues me to hear what transformations people go through, and because everyone's different. We know that everybody's different, and just how we approach it is different as well. But I just love it. I absolutely love it. Lori, what about you? How did you feel about the whole? Obviously, we're going to bring relationship into this. So
but to go a little bit, to take what you said and go beyond that, is that, if people are saying, well, I don't have a clue, I don't know what I need to let go of, because a lot of times people don't. Mm-hmm. You don't have to know. Once you start exploring, once you start looking into it, once you take one little step, even by just, I loved the exercise that she gave at the end. I'm thinking, ooh, taking care of myself, a hot bath, so no matter where you are, like, I'm going to go do that again, just to see what else comes up.
Yep.
So we don't have to know. All we have to do is just take one tiny little step and get started. And then as you're on the journey, you're going to know what you need to let go of. And it's going to be a process. And so that tied in with, for me, one of the important things that came out of this when she mentioned a mentor, because going through this and figuring it all out yourself sometimes can really be difficult. It doesn't mean people can't do it, but we are in a day and age where there are so many people out there, and somebody might help you with part of it and somebody else might help you with another part. But find somebody, find a mentor, find a group, the right group, and you'll know it because it feels good and it feels supportive. Don't be out there trying to do these things alone and struggling. So you don't have to know what, just get started and get some help. To me, those were the two pieces that I think I would like to leave people with.
I think that goes for all of you that are watching, that are coaches and light workers and healers and all of that yourself too, because we all need somebody, I think, that can help to guide us and to ask those important questions and help us stay on that path of just not just discovering who we are, but staying there as well. Because like I mentioned during talking to Crystal, there's a lot of times situations and things that come up where it's very easy for us to lose ourselves again. It's very easy for us to go backwards. And so to have that support system, I think, is tremendously important. And I also think I wanted to mention this because this is going to tie in so beautifully to our guest for next week as well, because she said she had to let go of feeling like she had to be good. She had to be good because our guest for next week, Nicola Humber, she wrote a book called Heal Your Inner Good Girl. And that was one of the things that she says in the book is, having to let go of feeling like she had to please everybody else and she had to be this good girl all the time. And so I loved that she said that, because as soon as she said it, I was typing it in a little note here going, oh, Nicola's on next week. So it worked out really well. Great show today, everybody. I think, like I said, it's really timely because even though some of us may feel like we're definitely farther on that journey of discovering who we are, that it's always a good reminder, because it like I said, it's real easy to go backwards sometimes, or to even just we might need that reminder of, hey, look after yourself today. And I think that the hot topic tied in beautifully to
Shocker.
As usual.
I was trying not to go there this time.
I already went there in the chat.
We did it for you, so it's okay.
Good. I'm glad I'm not doing it today. I'm not the one doing it today. But we are so excited that Crystal was able to join us today. I want to give a big thank you to Crystal Cockerham, and of course to our beautiful panelist, declutter coach and consultant, Heather Clark, relationship specialist, Lorianne Davis. And I, of course, want to thank all of you for being with us, whether live or on the replay. We had lots of fabulous people joining today: Kathleen, Tara, Donna, Gwen, Princess, we had lots of people joining in. Thank you guys for interacting today and commenting and giving us your thoughts. We really appreciate that as well. And I encourage you all to continue leaving comments and questions on the video so that we can continue to party after the show in the comment section. Also, big news today. So first of all, we only have 3 episodes of the show left after today. We were talking about this before the show. Where has the time gone? We certainly don't know. So we only have 3 episodes left today, which means that we are going to be casting for seasons 2 and 3 for the Breakthrough for 2019. We start February 1st for season 2, which we're really excited about. And we have lots of amazing things coming, little tweaks to the show, good things coming that we're excited to talk to you all about over the next few weeks. So if you are interested in becoming a panelist or guest on our show, please please send us a private message and we will be happy to get an application over to you. And so next week on the show, let me pull that up here. Next week on the show, we have, as I mentioned, the amazing Nicola Humber. She's an author, she's a coach, she does so many amazing things. She's the author of Heal Your Inner Good Girl, and she is going to be talking about following your instinct, which is another beautiful topic on the heels of this show as well, right? Because you discover yourself and then you really have to learn how to listen to that intuition and follow your instincts. So really excited to have her on next week. Until next time, my name is Jessica, intuitive mentor and energy healer, and this has been The Breakthrough. We'll see you next week, same time, same place. Bye, everybody.